Hey guys, welcome to Restoration Revolution episode 4. Today, instead of spending all our time in front of a piece of glass grinding out damage, what I wanted to talk to you about is how do you integrate window restoration into your service business as it already is. Pretty much everyone who's watching this video right now, I'm sure you offer window cleaning services as well as other additional add-on services. Window restoration is an extremely profitable service to add on, and I want to kind of go through some of the methods for integrating it into your business. Specifically, what I want to start out talking about is, kind of marketing and selling and where to start. The markets for window restoration are literally limitless, okay? Anywhere where there is glass, you can do it. Some examples: residential, commercial, but in commercial you've got everything from storefronts to building runoff, hard water stains, graffiti removal on storefronts, scratch tag graffiti, but then you've got things like outdoor advertising furniture, okay, with like CVS Outdoor, JC2Co, Clear Channel, so bus stops, at train stations. In the Bay Area we've got the Bay Area Rapid Transit, or BART. But if you're in the Northeast, you've got, the MTA up in New York, you've got the L in Chicago, okay? Now, those are not easy ones to just walk in and get, but there is more scratch glass than you can shake a stick at. New construction, okay? I know most of the country has been under snow, but as new construction jobs get started up right now in springtime, there's going to be a lot of damage on glass that's going to need to be fixed before people will do final sign-offs. Things like mass transit, we talked about the trains and whatnot. Buses as well. Anywhere where you've got a captive audience of, young punks sitting on bus benches with something sharp are going to scratch glass, okay? Last but not least, talking about the punks and the young kids, schools and universities are also a great place to get in there. And sometimes you can absolutely use this as your lead-in some of these new areas to also upsell your additional services, whether it's window cleaning and power washing, or gutter cleaning, etc. Okay, so where I would recommend when you first start out, farm your existing customers. Okay, you've already got a relationship with them. You're already out there cleaning their house, cleaning their windows, power washing. Their windows will be damaged. Definitely look for the upsell there. Good ways to market it are definitely, I know there's been a lot of talk about the mailers getting ready to go out. Add in a special, maybe it's the first windows free if you're doing 5 or more. Okay, we'll talk about pricing and profitability in just a second, but there's definitely a lot of room for you to offer, specials. Other places, definitely also on websites and free web postings. Okay, Craigslist is a gold mine. But then there's also Backpage and other online classified ad places that give you not only the opportunity to market the service, but also a place where you can market your service and get a link back to your website, which will help with your SEO for your website. So that's kind of where I would recommend anyone starts. If you have more specific questions, or you're finding that you're not sure where to go, post a question on the forum or give us a call, and we'll be happy to give you some ideas and some pointers. Next up, let's talk about selling the service. Obviously, if you don't have the system, we recommend that everyone go out there and find your first couple of jobs before you purchase the system, okay? 2 reasons. Number 1, it's going to help defray the cost of the initial purchase. But number 2, it's going to show you how easy it is to get the jobs, okay? There's so much work out there, and I've found that a lot of guys, once they've gotten their first couple of jobs, it's like, it's very easy for them to go get the next dozen jobs, all right? And then move on from there. But once you have the system, one of the things Dave Freeborn had asked on an earlier post, I think it was Restoration Revolution episode 1 or whatnot, and he is actually a user, but was a clarification on how do I go out and sell the service. What I do is I do what I call a porthole sales pitch, okay? So let's imagine right now that here's a window, okay, and we're going to say it's a storefront window, and someone's done a big old anarchy sign, and we'll say it's a scratch tag. What I'll do is I'll go in and I'll erase a small porthole in the damage, leaving the body of the damage there, but I'll take one area out and make it look good as new. Then what I'll do is I'll already have my estimate worked up. I try to, get all my estimates done before I go and talk to the person, because you can walk by and see the damage. You know what it's going to cost. By doing this and then handing them the estimate, I would say 9 times out of 10, I can't get in my truck to leave the job site, because they'll accept it right there and they'll want to do it. So that's definitely, the demo sells a service, okay? A lot of people don't believe that it can be done, and once you do it, bam, you're good to go. The other thing I like to do is, depending on the size of the job that I'm going out to, what I'll try to do is, if I'm going looking for one specific job, what I'll do is on any city block, okay, if I find a city block where there's a lot of damage and I want to go after it, what I do is it's an anchor theory, or it's what I call an anchor theory. I'm sure you guys have your own version of this. But on every block you have businesses from street to street. If here's the street, okay, these corners tend to be, at least out here in the Bay Area, the bigger shops, okay? They're going to be the Walgreens, the Starbucks, the banks, okay? If you can get these guys here to go ahead and do the graffiti removal or window restoration, selling towards the middle of the street is so much easier, all right? 2 ways I like to go about doing that. Number one, once I've got one corner, then what I'll do is I will have my crews, or I'll go out myself and I'll walk in next door and talk to the manager and just say, I'll walk in, I'll say, want to talk to the manager or whoever's in charge. No different than what you guys would do if you're selling window cleaning service, okay? And what I'll do is I'll say, hey, look, I'm going to be here on, X date doing these windows here, and it's going to take me, 3 or 4 hours to do that. I'm already going to be out here, so I can knock off, 10 to 15%. Again, I will already have the estimates done up for the entire block. That way it's not an issue of me trying to calculate out in front of them. I've found that, at least for me when I'm selling a service, if I'm prepared, I close, okay? So by being prepared ahead of time, knowing what the job is, what it's going to cost, then you're not going to get as much pushback. People are more receptive to it. They figure you know what you're talking about, so they're ready to jump on board. This is a huge strategy. It has worked for dozens and dozens of our customers. So, definitely that's how I do it, and that's how I'd recommend doing it. But that brings up, kind of the last thing I want to touch on today, which is pricing. There's been a lot of question out there. I know you guys look at the system, and it is an investment, okay? The system does retail for $21.95, okay? That's a lot of money. At the same time, you're going to make that money back in the first 2 to 3 jobs. And that sounds kind of crazy, but the average return on investment is first 3 jobs or 2 weeks, usually whatever one comes first. And again, that's why we recommend you go out and find the jobs first. It makes it an easier purchase for you because you know that you've already got the jobs, and it's going to energize you in selling more jobs, okay, and getting more work. There are three different ways to price the jobs. There's by square footage, okay? That tends to work really great when you're doing a large job. If I'm doing, a whole house, and I've got a great example. I did a house down in Bel Air, California, 4,800 square foot home, had 72 windows in it, okay, throughout the entire house and whatnot. I did that one on a square footage price because it was gonna take me, a week or 2, and it was Starfire glass, which was super expensive. So that was the best way to bid that one. Usually on smaller jobs though, when you're doing one tag or 1 or 2 windows in a house, square footage, you're going to lose money. Or you're not going to lose money, but you're going to leave money on the table. For smaller jobs or onesie-twosies, that's when I like to do it. The second method, which is by the job, okay, quote it by the job. For that, the magic number is going to be, you're wanting to come in somewhere around the ballpark of 30% the cost of replacement, okay? When to figure that out, obviously glass prices and labor rates, vary from area to area, so I can't exactly give you a formula, so to speak. But if you have any questions on what the formula I use, definitely give me a call or whatnot, and I'd be happy to talk with you about it. Figuring that way, by the job, I did a job 2 days ago, storefront. It was a PetSmart shop. Had one acid etch tag on the front window. Took me 45 minutes to get in and get out, get it done. I charged $350 for that, the piece of glass and labor to install it out here in California in the Bay Area. That job would have cost probably around $1,200. So I was definitely under the 30%. Manager grabbed it right there, said, go for it, no problem. Last way to do it, and this is the way that I, especially with the GlassRenu system, I tell you never to do it, and that's by the hour. Okay, a lot of guys like to do things, and we like to figure out, what are our costs per hour, because most of us have to figure in labor rate and overhead, and what is the one limiting factor in every day? It's the number of hours in a day. The problem is if you price out by hour, you have a harder time convincing someone that the service is worth $75 an hour versus saying the job's going to cost you, $150 and take you 45 minutes. That is an easier sell than saying $75 an hour, because then once you start getting past a certain dollar amount, people look at it and wonder, is he going to take longer than normal, or what's going on? So anyway, those are some basic intros to pricing. Okay, definitely want to work that into your estimate. Okay, the goal is always show up at the job that you're going to bid or at a potential client with the estimate ready to go. There are more markets than you can shake a stick at. If you have any other questions, definitely post them. And we're going to be talking next week in Restoration Revolution episode 5. We're going to be getting back in front of glass, and we're going to be going over troubleshooting. Okay, so things like you're coming up to a window someone else did with brand X machine that left distortion in the window. How do I get distortion out? Or I'm doing the system and I've got some kind of tricky swirl or some bad fab debris and I need to resurface. What do I need to do, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be talking about that in the next episode. Definitely post your questions, guys, and thanks for watching Restoration Revolution episode 4.